Welcome back to our Branding 101 series. Today we're talking entirely about the experience, the feel, the personality of your brand. So if you want to blow your small business out of the water and start connecting with your ideal customers, nurturing them in your world and ascending them to higher paying clients, then you definitely are here in the right place. Hey, I'm Molle from Visibility Hacking Studios, and we help small businesses do just that. Welcome if you're new here. Welcome back if you have joined us already in the Branding 101 series. If you haven't, check it out. The playlist is linked up above. For so much of my life, I worked in summer camps, and one thing that's super important about creating the experience and the feel of a summer camp is thinking about that entire experience from the perspective of each and every individual camper. It's just like our businesses. We have to think about the experience that each and every one of our individual customers is having, because each of those customers is just like a camper. They're coming into our brand and our movement, our experiences with different perspectives, different baggage, different previous experiences and doubts and obstacles and goals that they're coming into our brands with. And with all that in mind, our goal at summer camp was always to make magic happen. No matter what baggage or obstacles or difficulties our campers came to us with, our goal was to make sure that they had an awesome experience, that they felt welcomed, that they felt like they belonged. Same thing applies to your brands and your businesses. Focusing on that experience, like hosting a party, is vital to the survival of your brand. Do your people feel like they belong there? Just like if it's a party, would they want to be there? Would they see themselves hanging out with you if your brand was a person? I ask that question all the time. So clearly in today's video, we are going to talk about your brand personality. We'll also talk about how branding impacts and affects consumer behavior. And at the end of the video, we'll talk about how branding applies to virtually everything. So for all this and more, roll that intro. When thinking about your brand personality, I want you to think about your brand in terms of the ways that humans connect. Your brand's personality is that human component. It's the emotional way that your brand's message is transmitted. The question I always get you guys to think about is, if your brand was a person, would you want to hang out with them? Would they be welcoming? Would they be exciting? Would they be motivating? Or are they a Debbie Downer? Are they a little bit confused? Are they all over the place? Are they unpredictable? Those types of emotions don't really help us build on the know, like, and trust factor. They actually kind of take away from all of that. But brands that are consistent, brands that feel trustworthy, brands that are powerful, that have a unified message, they help us build know, like, and trust with all of our customers. In the visibility hacking world, we play the game of content for the sake of connection rather than content for the sake of content. So it only makes sense to lean on that emotional connection we can have when we really flesh out and think about our brand's personality. So question of the day, let me know down in the comments about your brand's personality. What is your brand like? Tell me about it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Understanding your brand personality and that feel and experience of your brand truly does impact consumer behavior. And I know this is true because I've seen it firsthand. Let's think about some of the best advertising we've ever seen. Nike ads. They truly lay into the emotional pull. We see ads that are all about the perseverance, all about the story behind the athlete, all about the obstacles the athletes overcome, or the feelings of joy and accomplishment when we win. The the feelings of teamwork and camaraderie when we come together with other athletes and our teammates. All of those are emotional pulls. They all speak to the personality of Nike's brand. Why is this important? Because when your audience has an emotional response, it leads to some sort of reaction. So if as marketers, we position our brands accordingly, not only can we create that emotional response, but we can predict and persuade what that emotional reaction is going to be, positioning our brands as that obvious next step. In Nike's case, they give you the emotional pull, they tell you the story, they get you to connect in terms of relatability, or give you the, that's a cool athlete with the authority story. And then the logical next step is, well, Nike clothes, Nike shoes, Nike, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The logical next step is to purchase these products and to be part of this community. So when you put together the right branding and messaging, you truly start to have alignment. And when you have that alignment, all of the marketing efforts you put forward are going to be way more impactful. If rather than just shooting wildly, hoping that you'll catch something, you're actually being much more targeted, much more specific, and at the same time, spreading a much wider net. So focus on creating stories based on memories, getting that nostalgia factor. It's a great, very simple way to connect with your audience. Tell stories about childhood, tell stories of relatability, tell stories about memories you've had. So you know me, I like action steps. So how can you actually implement this right now? Well, go out there and tell a story that maybe is a childhood memory. Lean on nostalgia to connect with your audience. Because when you have that emotional pull, you know that your call to action, when tied correctly to your messaging and to your brand and to your ideal customers, your customer avatar, when all of that is in alignment, you're going to be able to persuade and move your customer from one state, a state of indecision, to a state of decision, which is basically the conversion cycle. But the first step in all of your conversion cycles is clearly to make sure that you're subscribed here on the Visibility Hacking channel so you get all of our tips, tricks, and strategies delivered straight to you. I have literally had people come up to me and tell me that branding doesn't matter, that you don't need to have any kind of effort, energy, or resources devoted towards creating your brand. And I hate to tell you, but they are so wrong. And let's dive into why. Branding applies to everything we do. If you make the decision to not partake in branding, that is branding in and of itself. It's very punk. It's very counterculture, because if everyone else is doing it, I'm going to have a brand that looks completely different than everyone else. It still has its own appearance, just like the clothes that we wear when we go out in public. If you go out in public and you are dressed to the nines, you've done all your hair and your makeup, you're sending a specific message to the people around you. You're telling them about your personal brand. Whereas if you're like me and you like to wear your pajamas everywhere, you're sending a very different vibe, a very different brand message. Hey, I prioritize comfort. Don't knock me for it. Another great example of Brandless Branding is a great company we have here in Canada. It's a grocery store brand called No Name, and they are all about basic packaging. They have one font, one logo, one color package, one aesthetic, and they apply that to absolutely every product. Everything looks very generic. That in and of itself is a conscious branding effort. So no matter how complicated or simple you want your brand to be, branding is essential to getting your message out to your customers, to finding new leads, to nurturing them when they come into your world, so that every piece of content they're seeing, they know subconsciously it's tied back to your brand, your movement, your message. And we know there's a lot to do when it comes to your brand, whether you're consciously branding or not. You don't have to flesh out everything, but if you want a great place to start, I recommend checking out the branding guide we've put together, available in the Visibility Vault, free for you. Click the links down in the description. Get your hands on it. Print it out if you need to, fill it out, follow it along, and really think about your brand and how it's coming out and coming across to your people. It's a fantastic place to start. If you haven't already figured out your customer avatar, because you need to make sure that your branding is in alignment with that ideal customer, don't you worry, because in the Visibility Vault is also a whole training and workbook on understanding your customer avatar as well. So go check that out. In the meantime, I will see you again for our final video in the Branding 101 series. So check that out. Make sure you're subscribed. Let us know about your brand down in the comments. I will see you again very, very soon. Until then, remember, I love you. Be excellent to each other and just go live. Your people are out there and they're waiting for you.